For decades, Japan, the third largest economy in the world, operated under a unique constraint, a constitution that explicitly renounced war. But that era is effectively over. Japan is now executing the largest military buildup since the Second World War, shattering its self-imposed spending limits. A $320 billion five-year plan marks the end of post-war pacifism. With defense budgets doubling to 2% of gross domestic product, long-range missiles are being deployed, and aircraft carriers are returning to the fleet. This is not a subtle adjustment. It is a fundamental shift in the Asian security architecture. The Japanese have quietly decided to become the world's third largest military power. The 2027 Defense Roadmap shatters the unwritten rule that defined Japanese policy for generations. For decades, Tokyo strictly observed an informal cap, keeping defense spending below 1% of gross domestic product. This was the financial expression of their pacifist doctrine. The new national security strategy abandons that restraint entirely. The budget is doubling to meet the NATO standard of 2% of gross domestic product by 2027. This financial injection allows Japan to leapfrog nations like Russia and India, securing its place as the third largest defense spender in the world. But to spend this money, the government had to navigate the paradox of Article 9. The solution was a legal, linguistic rebranding. Offensive weapons are now classified as standoff defense capabilities. It represents a constitutional hack. If a missile is fired for defense, legally, it does not matter if it travels 1,000 kilometers to destroy a launch pad in another country. The distinction between offensive and defensive weaponry has been effectively erased by the reality of modern ballistics. This funding supports a massive doctrinal pivot. Formerly, the Alliance Division of Labor was clear. Japan held the shield, focusing on missile defense and territorial protection, while the United States held the sword, responsible for offensive strikes and retaliation. The speed of hypersonic weapons from China and North Korea made that arrangement obsolete. You can no longer just shoot down the arrows, you have to shoot the archer. Japan is officially acquiring counter-strike capabilities, the ability to hit enemy bases, command centers, and logistical hubs before a second volley can be fired. This requires a fundamental restructuring of the Japan Self-Defense Forces, moving from a force designed to hold ground to one capable of projecting power across the Philippine Sea and beyond. The backbone of this new strategy is the Type 12 surface-to-ship missile. Originally, this was a standard short-range truck-mounted system designed to protect beaches, with a range of roughly 200 kilometers. It was a defensive tool for a defensive nation. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries is now supercharging the platform. The upgrade extends the range to over 1,000 kilometers, capable of striking mainland China from Japanese soil, and adds stealth characteristics to evade detection. This is effectively a Frankenstein missile program, taking a proven domestic chassis and radically altering its capability profile. It transforms a defensive tool into a deep strike weapon. The strategic significance is that this is a domestic solution. Japan is rebuilding its industrial base to maintain an independent supply of long-range fires, ensuring they are not solely reliant on foreign imports during a prolonged conflict. However, the upgraded Type 12s will not be ready in mass numbers for several years, and the threat environment is immediate. This created a panic buy scenario. To plug the gap between current capabilities and the arrival of the Type 12, Japan purchased 400 United States-made Tomahawk Block 5 cruise missiles. This is an off-the-shelf bridge solution. It proves the urgency in Tokyo. They are not waiting for their own industry to catch up. They are buying immediate firepower to hold targets at risk. The Tomahawk provides a proven, reliable strike capability that can be integrated into the existing Aegis combat system, ensuring that Japan possesses a credible deterrent while its domestic production lines spin up. Looking beyond conventional cruise missiles, Japan is developing the hyper-velocity gliding projectile, known as HVGP. This represents the future of the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force's strike capability. The HVGP is a hypersonic boost glide weapon capable of speeds exceeding Mach 5. Unlike a ballistic missile, which follows a predictable arc, a glide vehicle can maneuver during its flight phase, making it significantly harder to track and intercept. The stated use case is specifically island defense, which is code for retaking remote Japanese islands if they are seized by an enemy force. The kinetic energy delivered by a hypersonic impact allows it to penetrate hardened targets without relying on massive explosive warheads. This technology places Japan in the exclusive club of nations developing indigenous hypersonic weaponry. At sea, the Maritime Self-Defense Force is commissioning giants. After canceling the land-based Aegis Ashore system because of safety concerns about booster rockets falling on Japanese towns, Japan pivoted to the Aegis system-equipped vessels, called ASEV. Sold to the public as destroyers, these are effectively massive cruisers, among the largest surface combatants in the world. They serve as floating missile fortresses designed to park at sea and guard the archipelago. These ships will carry the SPY-7 radar, capable of detecting ballistic missile threats outside the atmosphere. By putting this capability on a mobile hull, Japan increases the survivability of its missile defense network. A ship can move to avoid targeting, whereas a land-based site is a fixed target for enemy cruise missiles. The ASEV represents the ultimate evolution of the shield concept, freeing up other destroyers for offensive operations. Even more controversial is the transformation of the Izumo and Kaga. These ships were commissioned as helicopter destroyers, a designation used to bypass the prohibition on aircraft carriers. That pretense has now been dropped. They are being refitted with heat-resistant decks to handle the vertical landing of F-35B Lightning II jets. The legal loophole is thin. If it looks like a carrier and launches fighters like a carrier, it is a carrier. This move restores fixed-wing naval aviation to Japan for the first time since 1945. The integration of the F-35B allows Japan to project air power far beyond the range of land-based runways. In a conflict where airfields are likely to be targeted early by missile barrages, a mobile airfield at sea becomes a critical strategic asset. The Izumo and Kaga will operate in conjunction with the U.S. Navy and other allies, providing a fifth-generation air wing that can secure sea lanes and support amphibious operations. The geography dictates the strategy. Japan views its archipelago as a physical wall blocking China's access to the open Pacific, known as the First Island Chain. This geological reality is the foundation of the new defense posture. By placing these new long-range missiles like the Type 12 and Tomahawks on southern islands, Japan creates a denied zone. The goal is not just about defending Tokyo anymore. It is about bottling up the Chinese Navy within the coastal waters, preventing them from projecting power into the wider ocean. If Japan can close the straits between its islands using anti-ship missiles and mines, the Chinese fleet remains trapped within the First Island Chain, unable to flank Taiwan or threaten US supply lines in the Central Pacific. This turns the Japanese islands from a vulnerability into a strategic choke point. The defense buildup also includes a significant investment in the domains of space and cyber, recognizing that modern warfare is multidimensional. The Japan Air Self-Defense Force has been renamed the Japan Air and Space Self-Defense Force to reflect this reality. Investments are pouring into satellite constellations for early warning and for target tracking. To effectively use long-range missiles like the Tomahawk or Type 12, you need precise targeting data. Japan is building a sensor network capable of tracking mobile targets hundreds of kilometers away. In the cyber domain, the budget includes funding for active cyber defense, a policy shift that allows Japanese cyber units to penetrate enemy networks to neutralize threats before they launch attacks. This mirrors the shift in physical doctrine, preemptive disruption rather than passive defense. Of course, equipment alone does not create military power. Japan needs people to operate these systems. The demographic crisis poses the single greatest threat to this rearmament plan. Japan has the oldest population in the world, and recruitment has struggled to meet targets. The self-defense forces are consistently under strength. To combat this, the new budget includes massive pay raises and improved living conditions for service members. The strategy also leans heavily on automation. The decision to invest in unmanned systems and in ships with smaller crew requirements is driven by necessity. The ASEV ships, despite their size, are designed to operate with a smaller crew than older destroyers because of extensive automation. The focus is on high-tech, capital-intensive warfare because a labor-intensive strategy is demographically impossible. The implications of this buildup extend far beyond hardware. We are witnessing the death of checkbook diplomacy, the era where Japan would write checks to support international stability while avoiding direct military involvement. The big question remains: is the Constitution changing? No. The text of Article 9 remains untouched, but the interpretation has changed so drastically that the text almost does not matter.